People, Deluded, I'm back again, your favourite YouTuber. Clearly I'm out and about on my lunch break. I'm going to stop in a second. There's a weird looking man and we're going to pass him, so I'm not going to stop there because I don't want to get into that. I think you've seen him walk past, but I think he will be alright, about fine. Now, at the risk of looking like a weirdo in central London when people are looking at me and thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? He's got a camera. He's got a camera and he's pointing it to his face. Is he a journalist or is he crazy, sort of thing? But people, I'm back now, and just like that, look, my man was looking nice hat as well. But might as well speak about some transfer news or some transfer tabloids. Now, I'm not going to speak about Upamecano in depth. I've been trying to watch him when Leipzig have been playing. Obviously, I like him. I think he's a good defender and I think he will make a difference at Arsenal. How much of a difference beyond just being a good young prospect, similar to Saliba and Holding when fully fit, who knows? Because I don't think there's a defensive structure in place to really allow individuals to thrive. We can't just be looking at names, we need to be looking at a system, and until there's a greater emphasis on defending, especially off the ball in many incidences, apologies people, not just with the defenders but in general, then we're going to keep sitting there and looking at these defenders, especially the ones that are injured, as the messiahs, people. It's always the players, not just the defenders, but the players that are not necessarily involved that people say as, yeah man, they're the guys and whatnot. Apologies as I flip the screen, people. I like Upamecano, similar to Saliba and Holding. They're young, naive, relatively defenders, but they're good long term. What I like about Upamecano is his willingness to play on the ball. He's obviously physically strong. I do think his ball playing at times puts people under pressure, which was shown at France's under-21s campaign. But be lovely to see if that happens. Apparently, a guy I've made a video about, which Arsenal, as well as every Premier League side, if they're just being scouts and doing their jobs, we're looking at Hearts' young left back, and he can play in midfield, Olmo Hickey. Now he is, forgive me if I'm wrong, 17 years of age. He played last season in the cup final against Celtic, forgive me if I'm wrong, and he really made inroads last season. Pardon me. Now, no disrespect to Hearts, they've got a couple of young players, and it might be best served, you know, staying there, playing games, developing without any real pressure before moving to Celtic, where there's going to be pressure in Scotland or abroad. But naturally, you want your scouts of all Premier League clubs. It doesn't mean you're always going to buy them, but you need your scouts everywhere and watching players. And if they're not, it's stupid, people. And we might be genuinely interested in him. We might just be fact gathering and making sure we stay clued up. But I think he's a decent player. Whether he has a career in midfield or fullback's another story. And for those that are watching him on a regular basis. But I like his enthusiasm and I like his positivity. So I wouldn't mind him. Obviously, we've got Joel Lopez, who remains to be seen if he can progress to the first team. But I think personally, watching the under-18s, seeing him as a second-year scholar, I think he's got a long way to go, the young 18-year-old, but he's improving defensively. Going forward, he's decent. Defensively, the last couple of games for the 18s I've seen, he's coming about. So should we let him progress? Who knows, people? It's for people at Arsenal to speak about. Apparently, we've proposed in relation to Dani Ceballos' move being made permanent, a €30 million Euro bid. Apparently, they want 35, or specifically Perez, the president, wants 35. For me, I'm still waiting. I'm not gonna lie. I think Ceballos is gelled and he's looked decent, but you are a bit. I'm not expecting him to be 10 goals, 10 assists, Kevin De Bruyne, the sort of stuff for Arsenal, because it's not gonna happen here. But you are kind of waiting to see a bit more from him. I won't say he's playing within himself, but you do want to see him make the difference a bit more. But I would take him, people. I think I would actually like I would like to see him in a pivot, not necessarily as our cam or our 10. I'd like to see him in a pivot with a Guendouzi or a Torreira. I would take him. He's 23. He's got a skill set we lacked this season. I think he'll come good together with Torreira if he's here, not that much older than him or is around the same age. Guendouzi. We've got a lot of teenage to mid early 20s people, and it will be decent to move forward for the next couple of years with them, to which obviously Ceballos is one. For me, obviously there's resale value. You get him for 35 million. If he does play brilliant, then you can make that back and whatnot. I don't really know how true these claims are, and it is coming from Spain, so there might be a possibility of that. But he's always made it clear that his first intention is to try and make it at Real Madrid. That's his long-term aim. Whether Zidane is there or not might tip the balance. If Zidane's there, he might concede that he's unable to do it. If Zidane leaves, he might go and he might return. And I think it's an interesting period for Madrid, because I know they bought Hazard and they've technically invested, but I do think they need a couple more superstars. Probably need to go for a Neymar or Mbappe. Probably need a midfielder, which you've seen with the Pogba links. And you've got to sort out the futures because you've got James Rodriguez on loan, forgive me if, well, he's back at the club but been on loan. You've got Odegaard who's playing quite well for Sociedad, and forgive me if I'm wrong, he played very well against Betis. You've obviously got Ceballos, and Asensio is going to stay, but you've got young Asensio. Now these are players which can play in different roles, but more or less going to make up the same position in your squad, playing as a 10 or the focal point or the guy with the creative authority within your side, people. So you'd like to think either 2 of the 3 would be sold in Ceballos, Odegaard and James, or one of them at least, because if I was Madrid, I'd personally keep Odegaard and Ceballos and bring some experienced individuals, because there's some serious assets there, people, in my opinion. Now, the best season Ceballos can have is having a good season for Arsenal, obviously going off to the Euros with Spain and playing well there, and either further convincing on top of having a good league campaign that he belongs in their long-term thinking, or you don't know, playing in good form can tip the balance, people. Other teams of a higher stature than Arsenal could be interested, in which, if that is the event, that's probably the worst case scenario. You don't want to see Ceballos play amazing. You want him to play amazing, but if he plays amazing and it goes into a bidding war, you're hoping that Emery being Spanish and giving him faith and him being relatively comfortable at Arsenal tips the balance, but you never know, people. So I wouldn't mind him. Speaking of midfielders, that Samore guy, Leo, who I believe is out of contract in 2020, who I've made videos about before, in the highlights of what I saw in Leo in the Europa League, he had another good game as well, composing performance defensively, smart passing with the ball, etc, etc. So that could be someone we look to bring in midfield as well, people. But going back to Spain, apparently Arsenal were interested in buying Dani Olmo, the winger, the Spanish winger you saw the Under-21s championships, for 40 million euros. But allegedly, when the Ceballos deal became an option, we stopped. How valid them claims are, I'm not so sure, because they're 2 different positions. I wouldn't think directly whether one comes or goes impacts the other. It would more be like, in my opinion, in that we signed Pepe, or we're going after Zaha, we're leaving Olmo. Now, he's a former Barcelona player. He left and went to Croatia, and he's a lovely player. Can score goals which he can improve in, can get assists, can cross, can take people on. He's a decent player, and for 40 million in today's market, you've seen worse, to be fair with you people. So I would like us to go for him if not. Apparently Paul Scholes wants Mesut Ozil. I don't know how true that is, people, but let me try and find the direct quotes. He said, Man United could do with someone like Ozil who can link a team together. He could be an answer short term. I think that would be up to him. Ultimately, I can't see it happening, but he's the type of player short term who United could do with, and that's true, to be fair. I mean, I don't think Solskjaer would do this Emery stuff with Mesut Ozil. In theory, there'd be I don't necessarily think United have a better midfield or better midfield options than us, but in theory, I think it'd be set up more for Ozil. I mean, if Pogba plays, him and Ozil link up play, Ozil won't have to come as deep. I mean, if he's not there, you've got McTominay and whoever, players that are more likely to do the dirty work, allowing Ozil to stay further up the field. So short term, it could be a thing, but it wouldn't make sense, because for him to move to United, they're gonna have to give him his money back, which United, considering with the Alexis stuff and just in general, it could be more prudent or wise to spend in other areas. Like, I hear the Ozil short-term debate, but if you really want that creativity, I'd rather go for a young player that you can build around. Like, I don't think Maddison is a better player than Ozil, clearly. Like, you give them both a football, the final ball is there, but I'd rather go with Maddison purely for the outlay likely to involve. Like, Ozil probably wouldn't be the biggest of transfer fees, but like with Alexis Sanchez, it can prove expensive regardless of if a transfer was free or not. So I can't really see that happening. Carrying on with Mesut Ozil as well, folks, and it didn't sound like Emery was too happy to answer questions about Mesut Ozil, to be honest with you people. If I can find the quotes I copied and pasted. He said, when asked about him, he said, this is not the time to talk about this. He's not in the squad, and that's the decision. So he's had enough of speaking about Mesut Ozil. Apparently Manchester City were interested in Leno before they went for Edison. It's funny how things work out. And I know you all saw, allegedly, Jose Mourinho was at the game in the executive box, allegedly with Raul Sanllehi. I've seen a picture of Jose at the game, and I don't want to add fuel to the fire, but you have to wonder, why is that? Is it just, did he just, you don't know, Jose could have just been there as a courtesy to watch a fellow Portuguese side, or just a fan of football, and he's just seen Sanllehi. I don't know if Sanllehi's actually invited him, or if we can invent rumours of, with Arsenal's current indifferent form and Emery's question marks, we can already invent stories of how a replacement in Jose is already probably lined up. For me, you lot know me, I've actually lost subscribers for saying I like Jose. I think Jose is a great manager. He's a hallmark in the Premier League. Him, Ferguson, Wenger, they're people in my wannabe aspirations to be a cultural scout. I look to them people. You always hear me talk about Jose's cerebral approach. But I can't understand, this is not the Jose of today. I can't understand people wanting Emery gone and then wanting Jose. And that's not me looking at the two. How is Jose going to guarantee any success? We know for one, he goes against every principle Arsenal have. For two, people say he's a serial winner, and he is. And he did win the Europa League and whatnot at Manchester United. But was that what Man United employed him for? Yes, he had a successful period for himself and technically with United, but was that what United wanted? Would it make sense us getting Jose to... I'm not saying he would make us better or worse, but could you see him making us considerably better in the current day presently that Jose is? You can't honestly say yes. Now, if he did come, I would support him and I'd eat humble pie if this wasn't the case. But I can't see a case of Jose coming. He will improve us defensively, but I can't see us becoming cerebral winners again or whatnot, or saying convincingly we're going to improve. Beyond the fact that Jose has, in my opinion, you can kind of see what he tries to inject in his team more so than what we're seeing by Emery. There has to be a plan. Like, if we're going to get someone, we need to get someone younger with fresh ideas, in my opinion, in terms of the modern day coaching stuff, and give him these young players, these teenagers to mid-20s, like I've said, and give them the platform to develop. People like, I'm not saying to necessarily sign him, but Nagelsmann, or people that have a sort of philosophy, people. Do you get it? And obviously Jose has a defensive one, but what would be the point of sacking him to bring in Jose and still be 5th, 6th, when Jose is saying that Tierney can't play because he doesn't put his heart on the line and whatnot? Like, don't get me wrong, Jose is a great manager, people, but you know you're going to get the busts up, the positions of power. It's going to become a free Martial thing and all these things that was at United. And I don't want us to become a circus again. There is pressure. Who knows if agreements were signed that, yo, if Emery leaves, we're going to get you for a certain period. Who knows? Because apparently you've seen a lot of rumours. You've heard he's eyeing up a job in Spain. He's eyeing up a job at Spurs. He's eyeing up a job at Arsenal. Do you get it, people? Jose's probably playing his cards close to his chest, and waiting it out. So we'll have to see, but I wouldn't be on it, people. If he comes, he'll get my support. If he came and changed things, of course I would eat humble pie because I care about Arsenal being better, not being right. But I can't see that being a positive improvement on our current appointment, beyond the fact that Jose is a more accomplished manager, because the current day Jose does not guarantee anything. I don't think anyone can guarantee you anything in football anymore. But what would be the point getting Jose if we're going to get rid of Emery and we're still going to be ooming and ahhing, really? And especially Arsenal fans that were mocking Jose and now begging for him. And to be fair, fans can be a bit illogical. You've seen fans talking about bringing back Wenger and things now. Again, Wenger is my granddad, the unofficial third white granddad. But come on now, the game passed him. Do you get it? But I need to get out of here, people, and go and get some Mexican for my lunch break before I don't get nothing in the tank. So thank you for rocking with me, but it's time to keep it moving. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. Apologies for any noise or anything I can't control. I just love to bring you content. Thank you for the 14,000 subscribers as well, people. It means the world. DG Nation.